We begin in Gaza, where aid drops have begun over the territory. Jordan says it's parachuted 25 tons of aid into Gaza. Israel says it has airdropped aid too, and lorries carrying supplies have begun entering from Egypt after Israel opened a number of border crossings. The developments come after the Israeli military announced a tactical pause in 3 parts of Gaza to allow food and medicine to be distributed. Those areas are Al-Mawazi, Deir al-Balah and Gaza City. Aid agencies have been warning that mass starvation is taking hold in Gaza, with the health ministry there saying 6 more people have died from malnutrition, bringing the total to 133, including 87 children. Medical officials also say at least 9 Palestinians were killed and 54 others wounded in an Israeli shooting apparently targeting civilians gathered at an aid convoy route in central Gaza. The BBC and other international news organisations are prevented from reporting inside Gaza by the Israeli government. Amir Nada sends this report from Jerusalem.
Footage released by the Israeli military showing its planes dropping 7 packages of aid into Gaza, where 2 million people are facing a hunger crisis. Jordanian and Emirati planes are expected to follow. Humanitarian agencies have called airdrops a distraction, that what's needed to loosen the deadly grip of starvation are not planes, but for Gaza to be flooded with aid by land.
When aid is airdropped, it causes injuries and damage. They cause massacres on the street. We are coming here for death. All these people, the people who die every day. If 1, 2 or 10 boxes are dropped, all these people cannot take them. Only 1 or 2% of people get the aid.
Today, Israel also announced it would implement humanitarian corridors for aid distribution by land, addressing a key demand from aid agencies that the military allows the safe passage of trucks, following repeated deadly incidents in which they accuse the Israeli military of shooting Palestinians crowding the convoys. But already today, as footage showed trucks at the border firing up their engines and moving through the Rafah crossing into Gaza, at one hospital, medical officials said at least 9 people were killed when Israeli troops shot at Palestinians waiting for a convoy. The Israeli military has been reached for comment. It has previously said it uses only warning shots.
The way of aid is very harmful and dangerous, but we go out for the sake of children, because a child cries, telling you, "Uncle, I want a loaf of bread." It breaks your heart. It feels like a million knives into your heart.
What will now determine the fate of thousands of Gazans standing on the edge of starvation are how many trucks Israel allows in, how safely and for how long.
Amir Nada reporting from Jerusalem. Let's also speak to our correspondent Hugo Bashega, who's in Jerusalem. Hugo, what sense do we get of how much aid has managed to get in?
Yeah, Karen, so we had this report from the Jordanian officials saying that 25 tons of aid have been airdropped in the latest round of these kinds of operations over Gaza. This was a fresh round of airdrops by Jordan and also by the United Arab Emirates. And we've seen that trucks are now entering Gaza. So obviously there has been this significant announcement by the Israeli military after days of dire warnings by aid organizations, by the United Nations, of mass starvation in Gaza because they say of restrictions that had been imposed by the Israeli military on the entry and delivery of aid into Gaza. So we still don't have a clear picture of how much aid has now entered Gaza. But again, what aid agencies are saying is that they are ready to deliver aid to the population of Gaza. As we've seen, there have been, those images of emaciated children, reports of Palestinians starving to death, accounts of people fainting from hunger. All these reports, causing, shock and outrage around the world. So putting a lot of pressure on the Israeli authorities. And finally, yesterday, this announcement by the Israeli military, a number of measures to try to ease the worsening humanitarian crisis in Gaza. But again, what aid agencies have been saying is that particularly, the airdrops, this is a desperate measure really to try to get aid to those who need in a very quick way. But they say that this is not going to solve the crisis, that, what is important here is for a significant amount of aid to be allowed to enter Gaza, by land, by hundreds of trucks. For now, trucks that are waiting to be allowed into Gaza for this aid to be sent to those people who need in Gaza.
Hugo, what do we know about these pauses in fighting that Israel has announced, and how different is that to the ceasefire that so many have been calling for?
Exactly, and the ceasefire, a deal between Israel and Hamas is the main hope here for, for more aid to be, delivered to the population of Gaza. So this is a decision that has been announced by the Israeli military, pauses in fighting in parts of Gaza. We've seen also that some corridors are going to be created for UN convoys to be able to deliver food and medicine. And I think the significance here is that this is, I think, a response by the Israeli authorities to growing international pressure, given, everything that has emerged from Gaza in the last few days and warnings of mass starvation in Gaza. So a significant development that, there will be, pauses in military operations by the Israeli military. The statement by the Israeli army yesterday said that they will continue with their operations against Hamas in Gaza, but that there will be pauses, tactical pauses as they call it, to allow aid organizations, the United Nations, to access those areas in Gaza, especially those densely populated areas in central Gaza, also on the coast of the territory, for aid to be given to those people in Gaza.
Hugo, thanks very much. Hugo Bashega reporting live from Jerusalem. Let's speak to Imad Kudai, who's a local journalist in Gaza. Imad, thank you for waiting to talk to us. Tell us the situation where you are.
Well, the situation is not that much different, actually, but let us say that today is better than the last time I appeared here in an interview to BBC News Channel. People are still suffering from starvation, but right now the situation is a little bit better. Maybe you managed to get a piece of bread at the moment after allowing hundreds of trucks of food and other medical supplies to be reaching Gaza, of course, today, after the Egyptian side took the permission from Israel and after the humanitarian truce, Israeli military forces started to announce in too many places here in Gaza, like Al-Mawasi, the west of Khan Yunis, where I talked to you from, and Deir al-Balah and Gaza City. So the situation has started to be good a little bit, but the problem that we face is due to the huge number of hungry people following the trucks wherever they go when they get their path to the stores of the humanitarian organizations is still the same. A lot of the trucks have been seized by huge numbers of hungry people, and thieves here, groups of thieves are attacking those trucks, so they do not get the chance in order to be saved in the stores of the humanitarian organizations until they distribute them between the people that need here in too many places, and a huge number of people are in need to those trucks. So today, really good news we got from the Egyptian Red Crescent, which is in the few coming days, they are going to allow more and more trucks to be reaching Gaza, which is going to decrease the volume of the starvation we started to suffer from in the last days recently. And, the name of this, convoy is A Bright Food from Egypt to Gaza. Something else we can describe, and we have seen by our eyes from here, the sky of Al-Mawasi, the humanitarian planes dropping aid in the sky of Al-Mawasi. We have seen too many planes coming, but the problem is the most of those, packages have dropped from the sky did fall in militarized places where if you go there, you will put yourself in a very big risk. And those places are evacuated under the Israeli control. So it's really risky to go to those places where the packages from the planes fell down.
Right, so you are seeing aid being dropped from the sky, but what you're saying is where that aid lands isn't always possible for people to get to safely.
Well, because of a lot of hungry people, we do not blame them actually, because some families and thousands of families did not manage in the last maybe month or the last 2 months to get a piece of bread. So this is understandable for people suffering from the starvation for a long time to go there. But the problem is some of the thieves, those thieves are maybe sometimes militant. They attack the trucks, and those things should be controlled by the permission will be taken from the Israeli military forces. What is this? What this permission is about is to provide the protection units of Gaza, the security guards, to go and secure those trucks to be reaching the stores of the humanitarian organization safely. Because whenever those protection units appear in the front of the drones of the Israeli military forces, they have been targeted many times. So right now, it is really difficult with not taking the permission from Israel to protect those trucks again, because the security guards, the protection units are afraid of this kind of step.
Imad, what has it been like personally for you to get access to food over recent days? How difficult has it been?
It's like something I miss so much, actually, some types of food. Still, the prices are really high when you go to the market, because some of the merchants started to get the goods they have hidden for a long time in order to control the high prices here in the markets. But right now we can manage a little bit food from the community kitchen. Sometimes some initiatives here in my camp have been run, run by some of the charity workers. So we managed to get a piece of bread after a long time, and that was really very happy moment. Like my stomach did not receive those kind of this kind of a bread for a long time. So today I started to feel a little bit energy in my body. I can focus. I can do my reports with no feeling dizzy as what I suffered from for the last 2 weeks, maybe.
Imad, thank you very much for talking to us. Imad Kudai speaking to us there from Gaza. Well, our Gaza correspondent, Rushdie Abu-Alouf, who's in Cairo, gave us more details on the Israeli airstrike that hit western Gaza just hours after that humanitarian pause began.
Yes, according to witnesses, an apartment block, a flat was hit by at least one rocket, according to witnesses and local journalists in Gaza. Well, now the Shifa hospital, the main hospital in Gaza, just released a statement saying a mother and 4 of her children were killed in the airstrike. The circumstances around the strike isn't clear yet, and we don't know yet what is the target. But the outcome is that 5 people were killed, 4 children and a woman, according to the hospital. About 20 people were injured because the debris were flying in a nearby small bakery shop where people were queuing to bake some of the bread that they have made at home. This is just about 1 hour after the tactical pause announced, and it's in the western side of Gaza City, in the heart of Gaza City, an area not classified, one of the places where Israel asked people to leave, not red area, according to the map published by the Israeli army spokesman this morning. So it is significant because people were a little bit relaxed in the morning. They thought that the ceasefire will be holding. They were trying to go to the market to see if there is any food available, but they were surprised by the airstrike.
Rushdie Abu-Alouf reporting from Cairo.